Top of the morning, lads and ladies. Support for the Off the Irish podcast is now brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels, and you no longer need the look of the Irish with the ladies. When I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can take a longer shave. The third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents with their advanced skin safe technology pioneered by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code IRISHPOD at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use the code IRISHPOD. Use the right tools and jobs to trim your pan potatoes. Welcome back.
We're
How are we
recording.
getting on, everybody?
Today we're joined by Paul Roseberry. Again. You know, he's like the Joey Diaz of this show, you know?
You love it.
This shows up and says shit. Absolutely
love it. The Joey Diaz. Holy shit.
That is actually a fair
That's a pretty accurate comparison.
Like,
you know?
I think to scale, there's definitely some scale involved.
Yeah.
That's great. Wow, man.
How you doing, Paul? How's things?
I'm doing great. I just I would have been ready a little sooner. I had my eggs and bacon that I've been eating every day lately.
Respect.
I got
you on
back
that,
into the
that
gym.
newfandangled keto diet?
Dude, I think so. I think so. And I don't know. Like I gotta figure out how that works, because it's kind of like a quasi keto.
Because you've lost a lot of weight since our first episode we did together.
Yeah,
I went back and checked it out.
Man, yeah, I had to be on widescreen. No, I know, cheesy joke. We're not awake yet. It's Chelsea's laughing at that one, laughing at it, not with it. She's oh boy. Yeah, I was doing the intermittent fasting. Didn't really know what is that. I just wouldn't eat until like 2 p.m.
I've been doing that too.
It's kind of good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with the eggs, I lost 40 pounds, and then I wanted to make sure I was doing something sustainable from there. And but I started eating breakfast again, and I felt disgusting. But I said, why don't I try breakfast with no carbs, just some protein, and I feel fine.
So
I
go on.
Kind of keto, right? I guess. I don't know. I gotta look into it.
So are you like still intermittent fasting and then just having the eggs and bacon, or are you just doing one or the other?
No. So I was doing the intermittent fasting to really trim down. Like I was at 230 and just didn't even look like a human being. I don't know what the fuck. And so I went to work, and I get down to 190, and I was aware that I was going to have to live a lifestyle that was not going to be the ongoing regular to lose weight, because you're trying to operate at a deficit. And then when you get to a point where you are fine and you feel okay, I'd still like to trim up more, but I was fine with 190. And then, did we lose Garrett there?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Fine. There we go. So anyway, once I figured, all right, let's see how it feels to just kind of steady out to something that could work for life. I mean, I really enjoy breakfast food, but don't necessarily need breakfast. And then, just as I got into the gym a little bit, you wake up hungry, you should have some protein in the morning. So we'll see. But I did go to Florida recently. I had 20 beers on Thanksgiving, and
holy fuck.
I'm up 5 pounds too.
Oh my god. Yeah, that'll do some damage to the old liver.
That'll take like 20 years off your life, man. Jesus.
Yeah, that's even tougher Irish people. Wow.
I was gonna say, I'm talking to a couple Irish guys, and they're like, "Jesus, buddy, what are you thinking?"
That's crazy.
No, well,
any shots? Anything else? Just the beers?
No shots. No. Just being a gentleman.
Respect.
Yeah, well, what it was that, so we went to go see Chelsea's family in Florida. We stayed with her sister and her sister's boyfriend at their house. I saw the boyfriend crack champagne at like 10:30. I'm like, holy shit, dude. So yeah, I cracked a Corona around 11 and then had 3 on the way to her family's house. I was like, I guess this is one of those days. And finished out at about 4 a.m. I would say a solid 20 beers later. But that's almost 24 hours. It's making it sound reasonable.
Yeah. Well, I suppose a beer an hour is actually, no, I'm trying to
When
justify
you put
it,
it like that.
You stack it like that, when you're at your 19th beer going for the 20s, you have to kind of be like, how did I get here?
In fairness, we were getting into buckets because after hanging out with the family, I went with the sister's boyfriend to a bar in Florida, which now I'll be curious to you guys' opinion on this because I know everyone's a different state of lockdown. No masks at this bar. Huh. And no one was wearing them. People were doing karaoke. We were playing darts with some other guys. It was like it was last year. Does that? What do you guys think of that?
That sounds like a great escape.
Sounds like the good times. Jesus.
It sounds like life as it should be. But our pubs aren't open. I was looking to bring Dad out for a pint whenever I can, because I just want to be able to head out, have like a drink or two and leave. I think all our wet pubs are closed. The pubs that only do
takeaway pints.
Yeah, they're done. But if they serve food, I think they're open at the moment.
Yeah.
So you're getting like a $9 or €9 even meal.
Yeah.
So it's a pint and a sandwich or something.
And you have a time limit as well.
Yeah.
For like
hour and a half, is it?
Hour and a half, something like that. So you get your meal, you have your 2 or 3 pints, and then decide to leave.
It's not like you get the pint and a meal and you say, can I get another pint after? No, you have to get a meal and another pint after. So like
bullshit.
Yeah. You're having 2 sandwiches and 2 pints.
Is that serious?
That's serious.
Fuck, man.
You want to have 3 pints, you have to have 3 toasted sandwiches. Like, come on.
Holy shit.
Wait, you're not going to get drunk at all then. The bread is good.
Exactly.
No, people are going to have diabetes by the time this is over.
People have put on a lot of weight. People have
you?
gotten chubby. I've maintained my weight.
Yeah.
I've been about 150 pounds since I was 14, so I'm okay.
Wow. There you go.
But no, a lot of people have been struggling with weight. Even my friends who I taught before were absolute sticks. I seen one of them recently. I'm not gonna name drop, but I was like, whoa.
Now he's a trunk.
Yeah, that's what takeaway every night during a lockdown does to you.
Takeaway businesses have been having it good though, haven't they?
Yeah, my local one is down, I think, because someone got COVID in it.
Oh.
Not going to name drop that one either.
No, but
do you guys get into any of the as we talk about the ripples and repercussions here? Do you guys get into any of the conspiracies of they're trying to? I don't even know what the conspiracies are. I've heard a few, I guess, but like
at the start, a lot of my friends and I thought that it was made in a lab, and then Brett Weinstein got on the Joe Rogan podcast and said there's every indication of that having happened. Like he's a biologist, he investigated this shit himself, and he's not the only one to. And he sees signs of it having happened. Like you can't prove it, you just see if there's signs. And I was pretty convinced from then on, but some weird shit happened where everyone who believed in that initially kind of pretended like that it never happened, and they don't believe that. Because, conspiracy and COVID just makes you sound crazy. Now,
immediately.
I don't know if it came out like by accident, but I doubt they really wanted to put the world in a lockdown. I don't think there's any intention like that at all. Like I fully do not believe that.
Well, Jared, let me stop you there for a second. Because the last time we've had a massive virus was 100 years ago. And the one before that was in 1820. Seeing a pattern here.
You ever hear about AIDS? I think that was more recent.
No. Listen now for a second here, Jared, right? 1920, 1820. There was even a virus outbreak in 1720. So here's the thing.
Are you serious?
Everybody knows that birds aren't real. And they have batteries in them that last 100 years. Now, lads. When's the last time you saw a bird? Be honest with me.
This morning.
Nah, dude, you didn't. Stop bullshitting me, man. You just heard the bird. You didn't hear it because they have the noises, man. They don't make noises. Don't be so dumb. Don't be so stupid, man.
Stop being a sheep. Wake up, sheeple. Oh my god.
This is awesome. This is
listen. I'm not saying birds aren't real. Well, I am, but
this is
I'm
great.
just saying that
they have to change the batteries.
You gotta change the batteries. They don't last forever, and everyone's gonna get a bit suspicious if a load of birds are dropping dead around the place. I don't know, man.
Well, have you heard of that? That happens. That right there. Have you
how
heard
weird.
of like
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Every so often, I'm trying to think of when the last time was. It was maybe a couple of years ago. I saw something in the news where just like a flock of birds fall from the sky. Yeah. Like you can Google this shit. There'll be 300-400 birds just drop. No one knows why.
It's because birds can see magnetic fields. Birds can see magnetic fields, and when some shit happens with our magnetic field, it gets warped up. And they use these lines they use these fields to migrate and figure out where they're going. And when that gets fucked up, they get fucked up. So they all drop or they slam at the walls and shit.
Sorry, George, say that again. Are you suggesting there's some magnetic waves instead of just saying that there's batteries in them? Now, I don't want, now who's the crazy person? You know what I mean? I'm just putting it out there. Okay? Okay.
You see what I do with every day, Paul?
I'm going to start wearing a pin that says Thomas Knows.
Oh my God.
Just like
we need that.
Thomas Knows. Thomas Knows. And I'm going to put a battery in it and maybe a couple wings that just flap every so often.
I love it. I love it.
I'm not saying.
It's about goddamn time.
Paul, this is why we have you on the whole time. You're a smart guy. You know what you're talking about. You respect respectable people.
I listen to reason. I can follow logic and I listen to reason. I mean, like a part of me does wonder. I mean, if we're going full tinfoil hat, just throw shit against the wall.
Did you not hear me for the last 5 minutes?
I was gonna say, you have clearly parted the Red Seas of what is considered sanity. Okay, so as long as we're taking this Moses path, then so the world, our economies have been trending toward e-commerce for quite a while, right? Who is benefiting more? There's nobody benefiting more than e-commerce and social media. And those are the richest companies on the planet right now. Amazon makes all their money by delivering things to your home so that you don't have to or can't. In a perfect world, could you imagine a better environment for Jeff Bezos? Is there anything in the world that could have helped him more? Then nothing. There's actually nothing. If money fell from the sky, it wouldn't add up to he's made like $75 billion this year.
And that's after he's still the richest man in the world. And that's after a divorce where he lost like half of his stuff.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But I think he went from like 120, 125 to 200-ish, broad numbers. But I've heard he made somewhere between 65, 75 billion, 50% of his net worth this year.
I had a conversation with someone about, like, because they're basically a commie, but about late stage capitalism, which is what we're in right now, supposedly.
Yep.
Well, sure we are. Should there be an income cap, like across the globe? Like, does he need the 20 or 200 and something billion, or could we have stopped him at 20?
Well, if you think about it, Jared, what if he wants a second yacht? I mean,
shut up. He could build a country.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's actually at a place where he could build a yacht so big that he would have to then build his own ocean.
Yeah. Amazon can replant the Amazon and not make it look like it's not even a blink in their income.
Well, I think
Actually, he puts 10 billion towards climate change this year. He put a lot of money into it.
That's what people forget as well, is that he donates some amount of money to charities, to climate change.
And he's trying to get us to space. He's trying to get us to Mars. What's that thing? It's Blue Horizon or something?
Blue Moon or something like that.
No, Blue something. Yeah. That's his project. That's his SpaceX competitor.
Yeah. A competitor to Elon.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you got Tony Stark and Lex Luthor trying to get us to Mars. How's that going?
Jesus, I didn't know. I mean, you would think they'd want to join forces, but I guess if it's, the things that generally lead to, new frontiers, which would be, what's the word? Greed is number 2. Number 1 would be ego. That's what I'm going for. So, why would Jeff Bezos want to be an assistant to Elon Musk? Screw that.
There you go. And I think it's like a marketing thing of who's the guy in charge.
Yeah.
And if ever they had a minor fight, the media would make it look like they murdered each other,
Right. And
that would be a big story.
And eventually one would. One eventually would. You can't have 2 big dogs like that under the same umbrella.
Who gets to be the president of Mars?
Dude. Well, I mean,
this guy.
So, when people say like you had brought up, should there be a capital cap? What do you think? Do you think that? What's your take on that? Is there like a cap on what someone?
I said the number 1 billion, and I got told that I was crazy because that was too high.
Too high?
Wow.
Yeah. No. I think that there should be some kind of cap, but not something really low. I think there should not be people with 200 billion, I feel at a certain point there needs to be some kind of cap. The rest of his money goes into his business or other sources, whatever. Any excess goes to certain charities of their choice, whatever. But, I'm not an economist. I don't whatever I say is just what I say. But my friend, they said something along the lines of it should be within the 1 to 2 million.
Seriously?
Walter White made more than that in Breaking Bad.
I was gonna say, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what a house costs in LA?
Yeah.
You'd be poor.
But
this
is
poor.
We're Irish. We don't have the same kind of crazy shit like that. But that was their idea. I don't know what the money would go towards. Your government?
Well,
what are you gonna make? What else do they need? What are your tax money?
Let me ask you this though, because my gut reaction, without having a ton of knowledge behind it on this topic, is no cap. That's my gut reaction. But my reasoning, I'd be curious to hear. I would actually love to ask an economist. From what I understand, so say Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, and he is worth 200 billion.
Which is his current net worth.
Yeah. So I believe most of that 200 billion is Amazon stock.
Yeah.
Right.
I can look it up right now. I'll find out how much that is. But
yeah, sure. Let's try to get the science on our side.
Because I think when most of us get angry at the idea of one person having access to too much money, we have a notion in our mind that money becomes static, as though it were gold in a treasure chest at the bottom of the sea, that it's not in motion. Now, if we consider that his money really is actually in stock, that means that it's constantly funding his business, which is in motion. It's always employing people, it's paying payroll, it's paying for logistics, advertising, it's keeping a business alive. And as long as that business is alive, everybody else is thriving as a result. Everything down to the staples they use in their offices and the copy machines. And
you would think that would be the way it would go. But did he cut sick pay to his employees during COVID?
Well, I'm not saying he's not a piece of shit business owner. I'm not saying that.
Well, you'd think with all the excess money, the company as a whole would do better and the employees have a higher value of life. Like how Google will pay you, your wife and kids, if you die. Yeah. You'd think that kind of stuff would happen to Amazon, but unfortunately, no.
Now that I think that's a slightly different topic, but I do agree. My solution to most things is let the market correct itself, meaning, and it's sort of an anomaly here because Amazon is such a runaway in their field. There's no one really competing with Amazon on scale by any means. Normally, if you own, Acme Bakery and you treat your employees like shit, then everyone else is going to go across the street to Smith Bakery and say, hey, I used to go to Acme Bakery and then I heard they were assholes to their employees, so fuck them. So I'm not going to spend my money there. Yeah. And then that bad press is going to drain Acme, and Acme is going to be like, hey, you know what? We still hate our employees. We think that they're absolute scum of the earth, and we don't want to give them $1. But because the world found out, we're going to put on a smiley face. We're going to hire a new PR director who's going to speak to the crowd and say, fortunately, we have a new guy in who loves paying overtime to our, it's
kind of like the whole Ellen thing. People find out that she was terrible to her people. Yeah. So they move on to the next show they like, whatever. But that didn't happen to Amazon. How many things have you heard that come out as him being a bad guy? Now, with his charity, and at a certain point, what point does the charity, outweigh the bad stuff? Like him putting $10 billion into climate change. I had a friend who said he should give more. Not oh my God, we're saved. More. Right. 10 billion is a lot. Well, that's probably more than the rest of the money that's been put into saving or helping climate change. But just take it for now.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, I do wonder. I wonder when some conglomerate is going to, collectively put their eggs in the same basket and go after Amazon. Like there has to be a Pepsi to a Coke. There has to be, a Chevy to a Ford. Yeah. There must be.
I guess he's preventing it from happening. Like he just dominates that market so much. He has a monopoly there, and I'm pretty sure he can buy and then basically delete any company that's trying to compete against him.
Did I ever? It's not like we talk every day. We've spoken many times. But, there's a business story that I love that I'll give you a nutshell. Did I tell you guys about Southwest Airlines?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
This is an amazing story. This is good stuff. Okay. Southwest Airlines was a fledgling, tiny, they had a handful of planes. They were barely on the map. They're about to go under. Braniff, you guys I'm sure you've watched South Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Have you noticed at the very end of South Park, at the end of the credits, there's an airplane that says Braniff on the side and it says "Believe It"?
Okay.
I don't know if you ever noticed it. It's like the only time you ever see Braniff. Anyway, it's an airplane. So Braniff was an airline company that was absolutely destroying. They just owned the market that Southwest was trying to get into. And Southwest was getting some action. They were sort of becoming maybe a competitor, but not even really. So Braniff says, hey, let's get ahead of this real quick. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the region where Southwest operates. We're going to drop all of our prices to function at a loss, just to fuck Southwest completely out of existence. We're going to lose longer than they can exist. And then once they die, we'll raise our rates again and we'll be back as we were. And it was working. They were stifling Southwest. Southwest didn't have the money to, they were out of options. Their burn rate had a very definite end date. Do you know how they came to exist right now? And you've heard of them and not Braniff?
Yeah.
You do?
No, I was
no. No, I was like, fuck, if you've heard this. All right, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. I love it. So this is, I believe, like 50s, 60s, right around there. They looked at the demographic of who flies on their planes, and it was mostly businessmen. It was men who flew for work on company dollar. And they said, okay, what can we do with this? What we can do, we're going to offer an incentive to the flyer, to the employee, that isn't credited back to his business. It's an incentive directly to him for choosing us. We can't lower our rates as cheap as Braniff. So we'll be more expensive. But we're going to bank on the idea that the employee makes the decision. The company doesn't watch so speculatively to see which ticket they buy, if there was a cheaper one, as long as it's reasonable. And they offered a handle of alcohol to every passenger who chose Southwest Airlines. Like a 175 liter of Captain Morgan, of whatever you want. Whatever you want, I don't give a shit. And you can take it with you. It's not to drink on the plane. I don't know, maybe you can probably cack a swig. Maybe they give it to you when you get off. But because the incentive to the customer was so exciting, everybody went with Southwest. All of these businessmen said, it's a company credit card. The fuck do I care which ticket I buy? But if you're going to give me a bonus, I'm with you. And to this day, we have a Southwest airline, and the only time you'll ever see Braniff is at the end of South Park. How about that?
That's fucking impressive. You know,
Isn't that wild?
If they went like international, there's a lot of countries they could do well off. Now, unfortunately, it would be at the detriment to some people. You know, like countries that have alcohol problems. You know, like Russia, Ireland, Poland.
I mean, they ceased it, I'm sure, immediately after their win. But the point being that even if you're the underdog against an insurmountable win, there's a way to do it. So even though Amazon has such a well-oiled machine at this point, and with Prime and next day delivery and, you know, even having their own content, they seem like there's no way to beat them. Dude, if you put together, you know, like Apple, the devil, as we were starting to get to earlier, you know, if you put together enough other companies where you can learn, the beauty of becoming a competitor to Amazon is that the blueprint's already there.
But the thing is, if you become a competitor of Amazon and you outpass them, the target's going to move on to you.
Well, here's the thing, is that you dilute the profit margin. And that's when it becomes a reasonably balanced market. You know, if Ford were the only car manufacturer for 20 years and there were no other cars, Ford could charge $1 million for a car. What the fuck do they care? They can charge whatever they want. And whatever is the cap people can afford, even if it cost them $6,000 to make it. And then they have a 7,000% profit margin until 10 other cars come along. And then you're like, okay, now our profit margin's back to about 9%, like most businesses. You know, and that's when you figure out how many companies can that vertical can support. Can you have 11 Amazons? Maybe not. Can you have 7? Maybe that's the sweet spot. You know, I mean, number 2 wouldn't, you know, like it's, I just can't imagine one guy made $75 billion in 8 months and no one's like, hey, should we should we
most people weren't working. Most governments, their economy was in decline, and then this guy made all this money, and you're like, hold on now.
I bought a share of Amazon just before the lockdown.
Did you really?
Oh, I said you should have. I should have.
Oh, yeah.
Think I had money? No. I still don't have money.
I know it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's but I wonder. He'll get competitors at some point, because I'd be open to it just on principle. I think there's something inside of everybody who a little bit is like, if you can come close to what this monolith is doing, I'll support you. Just because, you know, I think we'd all rather shop local.
A greener Amazon would do very well. Yeah. It's either they do it themselves, which is the direction it looks like he's going in, or someone else outcompetes him in that, because a lot of people are concerned about what they're doing to the environment. And, you know, anyone can swoop in and say, I do the same thing, but I donate every out of $100, I give I give $1 to a charity of your choice, whatever, you know, that swoop in.
You know, all right, so that's kind of where we're going before we start recording. And I'm curious, you know.
Well, I don't know if that made any sense.
No. Well,
it's competition. It's a factor that people will start use that more if they think that they're helping out a charity.
Like most people who are our age or a little bit older, they're trying to get into the green stuff. Like you've seen it, like the Greta Thunberg strikes in schools for a greener world, so on. That's just going to continue through the younger generations.
Now, I wonder if that really works. And I say that with an asterisk, with the asterisk being, I commonly, and I'm sure I've done it on here, I rip on Whole Foods as just being a scam festival of charitable, oh, buy my piece of shit box of oatmeal that's no better than Quaker for 4 times the price because I give 3% to, one-eyed pygmies. Like it's always like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's always some shit, oh, look what they did to the dogs.
They do well as a result. There's a market for that.
Well, here's the thing. I wonder if there's a cap in that value, because I agree with you. The shelves of Whole Foods are stacked full of individual businesses who have shown that model to have value. But I couldn't name one offhand that really stands out. Well, Tom's Shoes. I think he's kind of a scam artist as well. But when I think that there's that vertical shows a lot of success on maybe it's certain items that are under $20 or maybe it's under $100. But when you look at the companies who are absolute monsters in their field, we throw it out the window. Because the same people who will go and make sure they only buy products that are cage-free chickens and donate to kids and all this shit, then they go buy an iPhone that's made by Foxconn, where the people are jumping off the roof trying to die. They're not allowed to die, but they try to die to make that iPhone because that iPhone's the shit. And then they'll be wearing Nikes that are put together by kids who are in slave shops because those Nikes are the fucking bomb. So there comes a point where, like I always joke, if you tell me 5% of what I spent buying your product is going to be given to a charity, that means that you have 5% lack of confidence in your own product. I think it means that you're telling me that, you know what I mean? You have to offer me your product and something else just for me to buy your product. Now, what you're actually offering me is karma, because you're implying that I'm such a bag of garbage that I don't do enough in my own life, that I don't know how to be a decent person unless you help me. So there's a backhanded insult right there. Secondly, you're providing a service which is facilitating this transaction. And third, you're providing thought as to choosing a charity for me, because I wouldn't even know how to choose one if I were a good enough person to have been wanting to do it in the first place. So in addition to selling me oatmeal, you're selling me this whole bundle of decency goods, which can distract from the fact that maybe your oatmeal's not worth what you're charging. Yeah. Maybe it's not anything special. And if I were just to do these things on my own, I could buy a cheaper oatmeal and make my own donation.
Yeah,
but then you'd be out of business.
The thing with the cost of food, we've had permaculturists on, so who are guys are like super into like organic agriculture and permanent agriculture without like too much hassle on themselves, you know.
They what now?
Without too much hassle on themselves, like it's just easy gardening, easy food production. So we had those guys on pretty recently, and yeah, they're saying like, if you grow it yourself, not only are you doing a service for everyone else, you know, your green footprint, whatever, but it's going to taste better anyway, and so on. So like, having a vegetable patch is a lot more productive than most people would realize. So like, what you're saying, like that little bundle of karma, you know, you could do it yourself for so much cheaper.
Well. And now, I when I was saying the part you could do yourself, I just meant the donating, because I still would consider, I'm sure you're correct in all the footprint benefit that would come with growing. I would not assume there's going to be a huge bell curve of people who are willing to take on that responsibility.
Go green, fellas.
And it's that areas. But I just meant if you're selling me oatmeal for $10. And 5% is going to go to a charity. And that's a part of what makes me want to choose you, because you're doing me this bundle of services of being kind and helpful. But for $5, I could buy a comparable oatmeal, but they don't donate to anybody, and I've never heard of them. Then I think I would rather buy the $5 oatmeal and take care of my own charitable donations. I think they're using it. I think that I see the fangs behind the charity. I really do. I look for the worst in a lot of these people. Anyone who tells me how good they are, I know that they're a fucking murderer. I know it. You know what I mean? There's no need to tell me how good you are. Let me notice. But if you're going to go ahead and tell me, then you're really bad. That's kind of how I take it. But when you get to a company like an Apple or a Nike, the product is so undeniably good that they can do whatever they want. Are there videos of our people trying to kill themselves at work? Yeah. So what? Here's the 12, and you're going to buy it.
Have you seen the bad conditions they're put under? Like the low pay. There's not like what we have in the West. We're very fortunate with the rights we have as workers and so on, especially in Europe. But they have it pretty shit. That's why everyone should have a Samsung.
Dude, I'm on a Samsung right now. I'd hold it up. We're recording here. And I'm sure Samsung's not a collection of saints, but at least they don't do that. But I just think there's a phenomenon. Isn't it wild that as we talk about these companies who donate being so, really gaining, a lot of momentum and a lot of buyers, isn't it interesting that we as a people, there comes a point, and maybe it's a dollar amount, where we're like, I don't care what they do to their people. I need the better product.
Yeah, and definitely a vanity thing. I just want to see where Samsungs are made, so I feel better. They're made in South Korea.
Yeah, South Korea.
There we go. I was thinking that. Yeah, and I think they have it better off than their neighbors.
I would hope.
Yeah,
I would hope. I mean, but isn't
they're surrounded
it wild,
by North Korea and China. I'm assuming they do better.
Now, as we were saying a few minutes ago, the idea that if a greener Amazon competitor were to come along, someone that had a altruistic companion to their product, that we might choose them over. But I wonder, looking at this model, Samsung, just by simply having no big headlines of complaints, it doesn't mean that they're even doing anything good. They're just not doing anything notably bad. That would put them at a decency advantage to someone who is notably bad. Like, I think a lot of people know about Foxconn, and yet still the undisputed winner is Apple, right? I mean,
yeah.
What does that say about people? Like, who are we?
I think it's just that people don't care.
What's it? It's kind of like the same argument with the meat industry, from a vegan perspective. Like, if you're not seeing the killing, you don't really care.
Yeah.
If you're not, like, so you'll have your bacon with your breakfast, as long as you're not seeing the pig being killed, because that'd be a bit freaky. But as long as you're not seeing like the harm being done to these employees, you're not really going to be as concerned as you would otherwise.
100, definitely. Do you think? What if I think you guys do this over there. I know. Like, what about on the sides of tobacco products when they show like the black lung?
Yeah.
Or like somebody with the fucking, like they'll get some really disturbing graphic images that have to be slipped in with the carton.
I think
what if we did something like that?
Every single pack of cigarettes, isn't there, like, smoking kills?
Yeah. Well, it says smoking kills, and then it says it in Irish here.
Yeah.
It says both.
And then they do the pictures sometimes. It's
and they're expensive. I think they did it on purpose, that you can't get any cigarettes in Ireland under a tenner.
What about this? Holy shit! What about this? Hey, listen to this. All right. Do you guys have the nutrition label on the side of your food?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, and it gives the calories, carbohydrates, protein, sugar. What if we were to develop, I don't know about wheat, but people were to develop some sort of an international grading scale as to how the company ranks on some sort of, it can't be arbitrary. It's not like niceness, but like on actual things that you can look at. You can actually see, what maybe on employee pay, employee happiness, on just like distribution of hours. Just if there were an actual scale where you could measure any company's human value, and then they had to have a label. They had to, in order to sell their product on the shelf, just the same way we do it with food. If you want to sell food, you can sell whatever you want. You can sell a bucket of lard. We don't give a shit if the food is good for you, but you got to put on the side what's in it. And if you did the same thing with every apple and every car and every pair of shoes somewhere on the box, it's got to indicate what the international grading is for that company's mark of decency. If we at that point were staring at it with every purchase, would we be impacted?
I feel like it's a great idea,
but there's a lot to
I
it.
think people would check it as much as they check the calorie count.
Well,
like if you're getting your fucking microwave cheeseburger for $2, you don't give a fuck what is in it. It's a microwave cheeseburger for $2. You know?
So, but in our household,
price is relative. Like, your average like family aren't going to pay an extra $4 for milk because the cow, the cow was treated a bit better. They're going to go for the $2 one because it's cheaper.
You see the full cycle of what we're talking about, because at Whole Foods, they function on this notion that their products are delivered from a better origin. When you go to a off-brand grocery store, like I shop at this place called Ralph's, it's fucking garbage. There's, people laying on the floor practically. Like, I don't fucking care if there's a dead guy in aisle 6. I'll step over him to get 50-cent chips. So what?
Yeah.
And I hope he ate some before he died. At least he didn't overpay. Chelsea goes to Whole Foods, and if not Erewhon, which is like you have to finance a dozen eggs. But at the same time, they're like, only virgin children have ever caught the egg as it falls from the chicken and, like washed by hand and delivered to you. So like, I wonder, do you think we're moving in that direction though, where if people are people becoming conscious enough that there is like, could that perpetuate the momentum of what we're seeing? Or do you think there's just a cap to that segment?
There's kind of like an argument like that going on in Ireland at this moment. There's a big store, and big chain store, and it's known as Pennies or Primark, and they're like known for selling very, very cheap clothing. Like, fabric isn't that good. I think they own most of their sweatshops in the Middle East. Am I right saying that, Jared?
I'm not sure about the Middle East, but there was a country where they ordered stuff from, but they had kind of a civil war going on. And my business teacher told me this. But I haven't properly fact checked it. But it was literally made by slaves, and then the place got boycotted because they were importing stuff from slave labor in Southeast Asia.
But then there's the whole argument. People were saying, "Don't shop here." They treat people badly. But then there's people coming out and saying, "But I can't afford normal clothing because the fucking normal clothing is branded shit that is worth." You want your Nike jacket, you're going to have to spend $90 for that. People can't spend $90 on a jacket. You go to Pennies and you have $90. Do you know what you're getting? You're getting nearly your entire family clothing.
No, you can build a whole new wardrobe in there. Pretty fucking easy.
Yeah.
And not too damaging to the bank account. Like this is a super dry hoodie. I got it for Christmas last year. And this shit's fucking expensive. But like I could probably get the same thing in Pennies. Pretty handy.
Yeah, super dry. They had a store in Times Square. Yeah, that's expensive shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can. I mean, it's like going to Walmart here. You can probably get a hoodie for like $7.
My favorite pair of shoes I ever got, I got at Walmart.
Really?
Yeah.
Shoes?
They look like Yeezys.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Dude, what about that? Dude, what about people? Do you think, are people like, are people getting stupid with their money? People who have any money becoming stupid with it? Because those Yeezys, dude, they're like $300.
They look like shit.
What concerns me is people who are late on their bills or drive like a shit car and they're wearing like Gucci and Yeezy. Like, do what you like. Like, I'm all about individual personal freedoms, so on. But it gets concerning, like, where are your priorities?
Well, I don't think people even know. I don't think people, Chelsea knows that, like, I've driven across town to buy gas at a cheaper, I actually have an app on my phone. I'll give a little plug. It's called Gas Buddy. And the reason I found Gas Buddy as an app is because I had thought of doing it myself, and I was curious if it already existed, and it did. So great. Now I don't have to. Gas Buddy, this is for the cheapest of cheap bucks you've ever heard. Gas Buddy, you can go on, and it's user-generated information, and you can get a map of all the gas stations in the area and what the current per gallon price is. So if you go to a place, then you can punch in, you know, like enough people do, like whatever you paid today, just let it be known, and then it shows up. So I've gone from one place, because in LA, it can be a swing of $1 in 3 minutes. You could pay $4.50 a gallon at one place, drive 6 blocks and pay $3.50 a gallon.
Yeah.
So for that kind of swing, I'll do it.
But I told Chelsea, remember where you live. It's just pure carnage and chaos, 24/7.
Oh, it's savagery. But the reason, it's not just the money, it's that, like, in my mind, and I know it makes me a crazy person, I picture, you know, like a head in the clouds, you know, like they do like in the movies, like a face in the clouds. Yeah. I picture a face in the clouds laughing at me if I overspend on gas. I picture this fictitious vision of the owner of the gas station, just hands on his hips, hands on his belly, just just like, I know I'm getting fucked, and I can see the guy enjoying it, and I won't. I'll put $5 if I'm in a pinch, and then I'll go to a better place.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to feel mocked. I feel there comes a point where I feel mocked, and I don't think enough people feel mocked. I think that you should.
I like that head in the clouds thing. And do you know when I think that guy should have been there? Is when people bought that iPhone that came out the headphone jack, so that Apple could get more money out of them for the AirPods.
Yeah, do you know how stupid that is?
Like, come on. It's a wire. And they were like, no, you gotta buy an extra. You want to listen to music by yourself?
No, that was a crazy move. It was just so dumb.
People loved it. I'm like, but it's setting you back. What?
It's obnoxious.
We guessed who was supposed to get on, but they didn't have the extra dongle for their phone. And then it just became a little bit awkward as to what we're supposed to do from there on. Because it is expensive stuff in the first place.
Oh yeah, it's mad.
I mean, it's just as if to imply you couldn't have had a Bluetooth set of wireless earbuds if you hadn't gotten a phone without the jack. Of course you still could have. Of course you would have, but you wouldn't have been forced to. And now that you're forced to, well, you must. It's I think people are really afraid of, like, it's like FOMO, but also like just not looking as cool as somebody else. Like, you know, you pull out an iPhone 8 right now and people are like, Jesus, do you live under a bridge? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
If anybody ever came up to me and made fun of me because I have a fucking wire in my phone, they were like, oh, do you not have like AirPods? I think I might fucking punch them. Like,
yeah.
It's a weird kind of person.
How stupid is that shit, though?
A zombie.
Yeah.
It's
a weird one.
Yeah. No,
people are in tough shape. I read an article like 5 years ago saying that home ownership was down compared to the previous generation, and they were blaming it on avocado toast as a prime example.
Yes, I remember seeing that one.
I couldn't help but agree. I'm like, God damn. Because Chelsea would buy avocado toast for, like, she's laughing. She can hear me from the other room. She's laughing. She was paying, when we first met, she was paying $12 for a piece of bread with some avocado on it. And I was like, excuse me, what? And I started making it for her. I'm like, I can make that for like 70 cents. And I did. I started making it. I'm like, no, you're not. Come on. I mean, if you want, but you got to have a better, option. So, but the idea being that because people these days, I think if you create a nice enough environment, like this organic vibe and, oh, everyone's so happy here, which they don't have to really be happy. They just seem to be happy. Then it justifies paying your whole paycheck for like a couple tacos. And at the end of the day, people aren't buying houses, which is how you get long-term wealth as an individual. That's how you have stability.
100%. Yeah, nuts.
Well, just want to point out with the cost of having a house, like my parents' generation, if they were in the United States, had to pay about $80,000 to buy a home in the United States. If they wanted to do it in 2010, they had to pay $200,000. In 2015, it was the first time it ever dropped in the United States. But, cost of living going up, cost of home ownership going up, and then like the pay, not so much.
I was thinking about this the other day, man.
Like it's crazy in Ireland. Like most people can't afford a home.
I am not with this, paying to live shit. I was not born, so it's like fuck this.
in the eyes of the taxman, you were. There's two things guaranteed in life.
I'm not having it. I'm just
debt and taxes.
Those are the two.
It's like I've had enough with it, man. It's like paying to live, not what it's about. You gotta have fun. Go skydiving or some shit. I don't know, but
you go skydiving and live under that bridge.
Gee.
Well, I mean, so like I try to live. I live like a pauper, man. Like I try to live on as little as possible so that I can keep a perspective on not feeling like I'm compelled to do something I don't want to, just so I can spend money on things that I feel like I have to have. Otherwise, I'm not doing it right. Yeah. Or my iPhone is too old or some shit. Like, cause I like to have that feeling of freedom so that, I can pick and choose what I want to do. Like, it's just like, I feel like so many people, since I was a kid, I've been hearing in the US, people live at greater than 100% of their means. The average American lives at, I think when I was in junior high, my friend's dad said people live at like 115% or 120%, meaning whatever you make plus your credit card is what you spend on living. Oh,
yeah.
How can that possibly, it just helps me to sleep at night knowing I could pay my bills for 6 months. If I decided whatever I'm doing, I take the uniform off and walk away and just start over tomorrow. I could have 6 months to figure my shit out. You're like, wow, I don't know how the fuck do you sleep not knowing that?
Yeah.
Most people
pretty
don't.
Dodgy. Yeah.
Dude. People sleep at nights.
Huh?
What do you say, Thomas?
It's a shit world to live in, lads. No fun.
That's all right. But in America, they have more freedom. So lucky them. We're talking. Yes, you do. Don't get me started. We're talking about.
This is what I can't know this. I can't. This is the benefit we can share.
Yeah. I was talking to my parents about the cost of buying a car because they had a clutch went to my dad's car. So it was no good. And my mom's getting a new car. And they were talking about the Irish government and how the way it taxes people, and it'll tax them to fuck. So a couple of years ago, they figured out people were buying cars in the UK and getting them brought to Ireland because it was so much cheaper and the quality was so much higher. So what did they do? They added a brand new tax and they made it extremely, extremely high so that it was no longer like cost effective, so that you had to buy a car in Ireland at a lower quality and a higher price.
Now, when you say a lower quality, are we talking specific brands?
Like fog lights, fog lights not being included in a standard car.
Or like 3 wheels.
No, like just the overall quality of the car, like not being the equivalent of what it would be in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay, but
like standard features that would be in.
Right.
the UK
Right.
not being considered in Ireland unless you have to pay more for it.
Like a windshield. Just don't give it to you anymore. It's like, it's crazy out there. You'll be going on the motorway at 120 kilometers and well, hopefully no one throws a fucking rock out the window.
Yeah, people throwing bananas out there with their windows because they want to wait for a bin. You get smacked in the face, or like Mario Kart, you drive off. Yeah.
You gotta at least wear some goggles. As long as it comes with a pair of safety goggles.
You think we'd get some goggles, but you should see the tax on them, Paul. They've thought of that, man. They're 3 steps ahead of everyone.
Rather than
you know what,
tax big companies in Ireland, what we do is we tax the employees a lot. So Apple owed us like something like $6 billion, which would have we made like 12 billion in 1 year, so it would have done us very, very well. So they owed us this money. We went to European courts to say we don't want it. Now, the people didn't say that. Just the people in office said that they don't want it. They don't want to take it because they were scared Apple would leave Ireland, and they would lose more money by not getting the tax money from the employees.
We have such a low. We don't tax companies,
but we tax
that
people.
Is nasty.
We tax their employees. Yeah.
Like our
so
tax brackets
fair and square.
Pretty shit.
So fair and square. They owed you six billion. It's not that it was a speculation of future. It was there was a debt. You could argue it right now.
Yeah.
It's their tax.
And because you're afraid they would leave.
Yeah. That's why all the companies we have Google, we have Facebook, we have Apple. I think TikTok are setting up a company in Ireland. Yeah. We have all these big social media sites because we just don't tax the money.
We tax them 12.5% of their income. Then we tax their employees up to 60%. And these aren't guys making millions. Like there's very few millionaires.
60%.
Yeah.
60%.
I have a friend that his dad makes something under 100K and he gets taxed 59% of his income.
What the fuck? Why show up? Why show up?
Yeah. Because we have a friend who's been on the show and they were telling us about like how they get taxed in California, and it was actually lower than what. And he said it's high. It's lower than what he'd get taxed here in Ireland for that amount of money.
A lot of people have left, as you know. Joe Rogan left. Ben Shapiro left. Elon left.
We have
because there's a lot of
moved to Wyoming. We have a friend that he was living in California. He moved to Wyoming.
Darwin Nersessian. He's after moving to Wyoming because he wants to get out of California.
Dude, no, I mean it's the problem. Yeah, no, he's totally right. Like we're not going to stay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we have about a year here, maybe, but
we got told they're going to tax you for trying to leave now. Is that a thing?
Someone told us about that, didn't they, George?
Yeah, that they'll tax you for leaving. That you'll have to pay a certain amount of tax just for leaving the state, as like a last-ditch thing to keep people in it.
Fuck them. I don't care. You know what? Fine. See ya. See you later. That just means I'm not coming back. It's the problem really is that in addition to the absurd, and I say that relatively speaking, what feels absurd compared to the other states, maybe not to Europe, but is the idea of the diminishing return. You're not getting anything back for it. There's Chelsea walking. You're not getting anything back. You get more homelessness, you get more traffic, you get more bullshit, and the cost of living is higher. What? I thought if you pay more, then there should be silver line streets. Like what the hell is this? So yeah, it's no, it's a banana republic over here. It's upside down. It's I can't even. We could go on for days, but it is interesting. When we visited Paris last year, and we met a guy who was from some Nordic. God, I'm not sure.
Sweden, Norway, Denmark.
Somewhere over there. Where I forget. Anyway, somewhere in that region of the world. Yeah. And he was saying that he had been used to paying, I believe it was, he might have just been talking about greater than 50. I think he was saying like 52, 53. And he said it almost patriotically. This guy was like, yeah, this is like, and I'm like, dude, really? Does that feel okay? And he was a proponent of it. He was telling us why it was good. He didn't sell me. but he told me why he was sold, and I was like, wow, that guy, it's I think I spoke with him about as much as I cared to for life.
With healthcare kind of stuff and the high taxes, it's not as good as you think it's going to be. It's going to be shit. Ours does terribly, and you need it's even at that, it's like substituted to a degree, but some people get medical cards. Okay, if you have a lifelong illness, it's obviously not your fault. You're born with this thing. You're going to pay for it for the rest of your life. Here's an opportunity. Here's this card. We'll subsidize that. If it's €20 worth of medication, you get it for €2, something like that. Now that's pretty reasonable. If you're born disabled in some capacity, that's fair. It's to give everyone an even start. And then you get GPV cards, which is what some people get. And it means they can go visit their general practitioner doctor, for free. But anything else is going to cost them money. Okay. To give you an idea of the level you need to be at to have them, I'm an unemployed student. Okay. You'd think that would be pretty deserving of the income-based one. They've been trying to take it off me for the last 2 years.
Unemployed student.
You
sounds approximately zero.
It sounds like approximately zero. It is approximately zero. Well, I'm part-time on certain things, but like.
Is it because you're dependent? You're under your parents?
Yeah, because. Yeah. But like there's. Also, I'm added to like this thing of like I should be able to have it because people in the family have certain things. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But they're just trying to take that shit away for.
Healthcare's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
Healthcare's a tough one.
And the quality of the healthcare system is pretty terrible. So there's no real good there.
Really
like with serious things, you want to do it privately, and that's kind of the two bits about it, because you're going to be waiting too long for it to be any good. Otherwise, if you're really sick, you don't want to be put in that 3-month waiting list.
Yeah, and I've heard people. I'm sure we've both heard people on Rogan talking about Canada versus U.S., where Canadians have come to the U.S. to get healthcare for something that needed to be done quickly and with precision, as opposed to kind of maybe a little shoddy. If you could wait 3 months and have it done in Canada, and then it's maybe 80% quality.
Well, I'm pretty worried about your healthcare. In all fairness, I had pneumonia there, and it was probably the most expensive medical bill I've ever had.
You had pneumonia here?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Twice. Went to the United States and got it twice. Yeah.
God, you make me feel like we live in a trash can. you only get. Have you ever had it at home?
Never.
God,
I've never been sick at home.
Hon, he came over here and got pneumonia. The 2 times he's come, he got pneumonia.
Well, no, I've been to the States more than that, but like 2 of the times I went to Florida specifically.
Okay.
Florida. Oh, yeah, well, you fucking catch anything in Florida. Like,
yeah.
Chelsea's from Florida. I bag on it all the time. Oh my God. Yeah. He got that Florida, the Florida lung, honey.
Florida lung. Oh my God.
Yeah. 80% of the air is just tobacco. It's pretty bad over here, guys.
But you would think Florida would have great air. It's a peninsula surrounded by salt water. You'd think that actually would be,
I think the hurricanes would kind of push away the bad stuff.
Yes.
No, hurricane season's over there now. We got stuck in a few when we were there. That was pretty rough.
Oh, man. I can't believe you got pneumonia here. Do you feel like when you're home, is it cleaner in Ireland? Is it better?
Yes.
No, not really.
Jared, it has to be.
No, like the sunny beaches of Florida
versus
the absolute ass end of nowhere
of Offaly,
South Dakota. Like those places felt cleaner to me.
Would you say that? Would you say that the air in Offaly is cleaner than the air in New York?
You're comparing like.
In fairness, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, New York is going to be.
Offaly is nothing here. We're pretty chill. If you went to Dublin, you know the air quality is actually known to be bad, but Offaly, we're pretty okay.
Yeah. And
the bogs absorb a lot of our carbon dioxide anyway, so.
They're sound like that,
They'd be sound that way, so they would.
Yeah. Good on the bugs.
I forgot when you were saying that when we were talking about healthcare. I had a friend years ago, this neighbor of mine, she was telling me that she visited Ireland. What did she say? Did she break a bone? Might have. Maybe broke her finger. It wasn't something major. She either got pretty sick or she might have broken a finger. Something, it wasn't, anyway. It was an outpatient sort of thing. She said when she was leaving, now she was still an American citizen, but she was visiting there maybe like a student semester sort of thing. Maybe. I think it was just a trip. And she said when she was leaving, she was directed to a counter, which appeared to be like a cashier, like someone who, this is where you go pay your bill. She said when she got to that cashier, the person asked where she was going, and she told them, and they gave her money to pay for the bus to get to where she was going. Like she said they were actually giving her cash. She thought this is where she goes to pay for the visit. And the visit was by all means 100% just on the state. And then they were going to give her some small amount to cover her travel to get to where she was staying. And I don't think she accepted it. I think she said, that's, I'm good.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I wondered if that was, I don't know. She did a lot of drugs.
No, I'll be honest. I've never heard of an Irish hospital giving money.
No.
It sounds absurd. It sounds absurd.
That sounds...
Maybe it sounds like it was an individual.
Maybe.
Maybe the cashier felt sorry. I don't know.
My mom works in a hospital, and if I told her that, and if I told her if she found out what hospital it was, she'd kick ass and take names. Like, giving money away.
That's a bit much.
Giving money away to the hospital is
And also, like, she could have said anything. So, like, how do they regulate that or keep track of it? Oh yeah, I'm going up to pick the farthest distance you could to get the most amount of money.
Yeah.
I'm going to Donegal. I'm going to Cork, Galway. Yeah. All right, here's 25 quid.
85 bucks.
And realistically, you're getting like the 250 bus up to like the nearest station or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. I don't know. I mean, Yeah, it did sound a little ridiculous. I'm glad that was probably 12 years ago. I'm glad to finally get an actual Irish, local opinion on that. Who knows? Yeah. She was a strange girl.
That's fair.
A strange girl.
Well, this has been a strange conversation, Paul.
Man,
Thomas
hasn't it,
Thomas has got to go, so we're going to end it up quick. Man, this has been, like, you swear this is like the economy episode.
Fuck it. Why not?
It's the tax episode,
funny guys.
Yeah.
A bunch of funny guys who probably don't know anything about actual economics, but.
Yeah. Well, myself and Thomas are studying business.
Okay, good.
So
great.
I suppose that helps.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah. But,
Paul, as I say, after every episode with you, we'll have you on again. Can't wait for it.
Always. Oh, you can't turn this guy down.
You're like a season regular here,
Yeah.
Anytime. You guys this is so much fun.
I promise to give more notice next time though. Not like
I don't care.
2 o'clock in the morning here. Paul, do you want to get on tomorrow? Sure.
I don't care.
All off his tits on drugs. Sure.
Dude, it actually works out great because Chelsea and I are going to go to this outdoor shopping mall that's going to be very festive, and that's all we wanted to do today. I have plenty of time to do it. This is great. I hang with my Irish connection, and done with breakfast and the hang in time to go do. Come on, how do you lose?
There you go.
What a life.
But Paul, if people want to check you out, where can they find you?
Paul Roseberry, everything. Instagram is at Paul Roseberry, Facebook, Twitter, everything. YouTube. Cameo.
Have you got any business off that recently?
No, God, I think I did like 3. I think they give you a little bump in the beginning when you're new. I think they kind of, push it to the top for a minute.
There's a new section and there's a trending section. You get added to there when you're new.
Hey, on that note, before we go, let me ask you this, and maybe we can come back to it. I think I had a revelation on TikTok. I think I cracked what's happening with TikTok, and I'm sure I'm not the first. I'm probably the last guy to realize it. But so TikTok, it's been meteoric in its rise among social media, right? Just like out of nowhere, it kind of the fastest to the top.
Yes.
And partly because they realized people love to gain followers, right?
Yes.
It's very exciting to be able to post one video. That's what everyone kept telling me. Dude, just post a couple things. You can gain 1 million followers like overnight. And you're like, holy shit, you know, like this is wild.
Yeah. They talked about this in the Social Dilemma.
Okay. Well,
on Instagram, it took someone 5 years to get 1 million followers. And then like add new platforms and they were getting it faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If somebody were to realize, as TikTok did, that the speed of follower growth is what really motivates somebody to download your app, is it any less than obvious as to that it would be China who makes a fake everything to come out with it? How obvious? Well, are we all stupid as shit? You think if you have 1 million followers, you're going to go through and look up everyone's profile? Does everyone realize that all they had to do was come up with an algorithm that said, if you have a video that's funny enough to get 11 views, then we're going to put you at a ratio of 1 point plus per follower so that you actually get all these bunk bullshit additional followers because we know that's what you want. So for every real person who follows you, we're going to tack on 3 who aren't. And then everyone's going to talk about us. So do we all know that's what they're doing? Because I think that's what they're doing.
But people have bought apps for forever, like making fake accounts and then selling them off. Like you can find plenty of those things.
Well, with Instagram, you have to do it yourself. You got to go and you got to pay somebody to, you know, like $100 to gain 1,000 followers or whatever it is. You know, there's a different going rate.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying they made it internal. That's all they did. They said, you want the free followers? We'll fucking give them to you. You know? And all you have to do is have a little bit of algorithmic sway so that if a video is a dud, they're not going to give you followers for nothing. But it's based on the more momentum, the better your video actually is, the higher return you'll get. But it's all based on fake. So you could get a 3-to-1 if you're really big, 5-to-1 if you're bigger, 1-to-1 if you're a dud.
Yeah.
I know Thomas has to go, but I just wanted to throw that out.
Thank you for that, Paul.
I don't know. You guys are younger. I'm curious what you think. Yeah, we'll come back to it. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll put a pin in that one and talk about it in the next episode.
This has been Paul Roseberry.
There we go.
Thank you so much, Paul. You know, as always, for coming on. If you like this episode, like, comment, subscribe, maybe. I don't care. Tell your grandma about the podcast. And, you know, good luck to you.
Hey.